as a necessity and have recommended it repeatedly in many national and international fora. The number of languages spoken in Africa varies between 1,000 and 2,500, depending on different estimates and definitions. Monolingual states are non-existent, and languages are spread across borders in a range of different constellations and combinations. It is therefore hoped that this workshop will provide insight and facts that will inform clear decisions and effective actions that will promote sub-regional and regional integration through the use of common languages.
Working with Akanan, whose mandate is to develop and promote African languages with a view to using them in domains of society, in partnership with the current official languages such as English and French, Sidejata defended the significance of the seminar. He argues it complements Article 62 of the ECOWAS Treaty, which calls on member states to promote the learning and dissemination of West African languages as a catalyst to community integration.
The goal of the Academy is to establish the following as a start: to harmonize the alphabets and orthographies of the languages in question, to make a linguistic map of Africa, to train journalists in the use of African languages in both print and electronic media, to develop new terminologies in African languages in the domains of the science and so on, to design a program for the students of the Pan-African University in master's and PhD levels in African languages and applied linguistics.
Baba Sise, whose institution promotes culture, has more on the importance of the 3-day deliberation.
Whether language is the vehicle of culture or vice versa continues to be a subject of academic reflection. What is certain is that language stands on a high pedestal because it is fundamental to creative expression, academic development, and is also key to our cultural identity. It is also certain that in our sub-region, the adoption of foreign languages as official languages have often hindered communication between the same people when our indigenous languages, if not the same or variants of the same language, are often mutually intelligible.
This seminar, championed by the Gambian National Commission for UNESCO, has actualized the Khartoum Summit Agreement reached by African heads of state and government who earlier recognized the importance of African languages as a media of instructions and vehicles of culture for the achievement of the African Renaissance.
In pursuing this vision of our leaders and in recognition of the fact that a country's development is closely linked to its ability to create opportunities and avenues for its overall population to access education and knowledge, my ministry has started the teaching of national languages at the primary school level. The initiative has already shown positive and encouraging signs, and we will endeavor to work for the development and the teaching of our national languages to reach all levels of our education system.
The 3-day convergence is expected to focus on the relationship between the different languages and language interferences, and to come up with an achievable recommendation that will foster the harmonization of cross-border languages and for advocacy through the use of local languages. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Norwegian charity Sharania Foundation has made its 5th-year donation of cash to 50 school-going children in the Gambia. Fatou Jasseh reports on the presentation of over $87,000 at a ceremony held at the APRC Bureau in Kanifing.
This is the 5th time members of the Sharania Foundation embark on such a massive show of generosity by doling out cash amount of over $87,000 to poor and needy families in support of education. Founded 5 years ago, the humanitarian body has tasked itself to follow the footsteps of the Jammeh Foundation for Peace, pioneered by President Jammeh.
Today marks another landmark for the Sarani Foundation, because this is the 5th time we're doing a presentation.
The chairperson of the board of directors of Sharania went further to elaborate on the reason of initiating the foundation, which he said is primarily to keep children off the streets and markets and get them into the classroom. He continued that creating a bright future for underprivileged child will remain the foundation's main task.
Always take care of the children, because that is our priority. We want the children to be neat when they go to school. We want the children to, have time to do their homeworks at home, not to give them, these ice packs or whatever to go to the markets and sell. That is not their duty. We are fighting against child labor. That is something that we have to eradicate at all times. So we want you to take good care of them.
As the government of the Gambia pronounces that in education the sky is the limit, Bakari Jete, an APRC militant, challenged the students to aim for the best and make the best out of the opportunity accorded to them. He also urged parents to help the children to focus on their education in order to live a productive life.
They are the future leader of tomorrow, and they are the future leader of this country. So for that being the case, let's advise the students and teach them and tell them their future lies on their education.
In his remarks, the Lord Mayor of KMC, Alhaji Yankuba Koli, dwelled on the level of poverty on the municipality and her surrounding, describing parts of the KMC and West Coast regions as most hard hit by poverty, even though this is highly unnoticed.
As I always say in my statements, that if you want to see the poorest of the poor, come to KM and some part of West Coast region. Sometimes people may tend to think that everything is here. But that notion, sometimes I disagree. To say that the poorest of the poor are living within this municipality and some part of West Coast region.
Mayor Koli also spoke on the need for aid to assist those in need while thanking Sharania for their timely intervention and urged other philanthropist groups to emulate the gesture. For GRTS News, I am Fatou Jassi.
The death of the Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez on Tuesday left shockwaves across the world. The leftist revolutionary icon was a strong critic of Western capitalism, establishing a form of socialism with nationalism, which he called Bolivarianism. Mamadou Diallo went out and about to gauge opinions on what Chavez's death means for Venezuela and the world.
Venezuela has been sent into mourning following the death of their leader Hugo Chavez Frias. The long-time leader of the Bolivarian Revolution succumbed to cancer after a long period of treatment in Cuba. His death sent shockwaves across the world and for a moment brought his country to a standstill as thousands of his supporters stormed the streets to mourn a man they fondly called El Comandante. Chavez was a fierce critic of the West and championed a form of socialism that lifted millions of people from poverty. Internationally, he pursued an aggressive anti-colonialist and anti-imperialist foreign policy that stressed independence, freedom, and third world cooperation. Chavez visited the Gambia in 2006 upon the invitation of the Gambian leader, His Excellency Sir Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh, with whom he had an excellent friendship. The two countries have a fruitful relationship which transcends the fields of education, infrastructural development, and agriculture. Hugo Chavez's death, therefore, has inevitably shocked the government and people of the Gambia. Dr. Aliou Badara Sajar Tal, a senior political science lecturer at the University of the Gambia, feels his death is a great loss for the world.
That this man has left a chapter in history as a revolutionary of the third world who loved his people, not only his people but the whole third world population. He has contributed greatly to the Bolivar Revolution and has confronted major political powers in the world to perpetuate or support the freedom of people in the third world, not only to be free but with dignity.
This feeling is equally shared by Dr. Abubakar Senghor, Dean of the School of Law, who says with Chavez out of the picture, his successor will have to do much to continue his legacy.
I'm expecting that the same relationship will continue. They will continue to see us here in the Gambia and other countries as reliable friends. We will continue to see them as reliable friends. And the same level of cooperation will continue because they are like-minded people. You know, the leaders are like-minded. These are, whether it is Chavez or Jammeh or any other person, there are young Africans, young African leaders, very energetic, with visionary leaders